Hi, I'm Michelangelo Flores. Some of you know me as Rez, and I'm your friend in the TV and film industry. Just kidding. Nobody has any friends in the TV and film industry. Especially you. Especially me. I was just taking a look at some of my IMDb credits. My IMDb profile is not complete, but it has some of my history on there. Today, I was going to look at something called, one of my earliest credits listed here is something called Broke Sky. Broke Sky from 2007. Unrated 1 hour 37 minutes. Thomas Calloway, director. And I was listed as a camera assistant. I think I was listed as camera assistant, possibly as a production assistant, which is, it's not bad to get 2 credits on them. But oddly enough, I did not work on that film. I think somebody called me to see if I was available to work on it, and that production assistant left me in the credits. So I got credited for work I did not do, and I suppose it was one of those unpaid gigs that you hear about that are all too common, that so many of us end up doing. But I think it would have been one of the few unpaid gigs, except for this short, I think it was part of a 48-hour film project, Love Between Takes from 2022. And that has a great story behind it, because at the time I was shooting Love Between Takes, it was the anniversary of an injury. I think it was the 8-year anniversary of the injury that knocked me out of the film biz for a while, and I had to take a sedentary job. Took that sedentary job working as a master control operator for a small network news affiliate in Waco, Texas. And there are stories surrounding that one as well. So where to begin? So I mentioned I didn't work on Broke Sky. It has 6 out of 10 stars as assistant camera, but it is kind of odd that I would have gotten that credit, because I think some of the people involved in it are actually very active as gatekeepers locally. So maybe you come to Waco and you hear that the Texas film industry is booming, and Waco has a reputation somewhat of being kind of a place to be. And you think, well, I'll just land in Waco and I'll work in TV and film there. Think again. I was under the impression that there was a gatekeeper involved in it, but maybe not. But yeah, somebody must have given me a referral. Surprisingly, it wasn't any of the people that are the gatekeepers. But one of the first features I worked on, also unpaid, was called Heathens, and it was shot outside of Austin, Texas, in an area called Bee Caves. And we were on the property owned by Willie Nelson, and it was the set that was built for a film called The Red-Headed Stranger. So that set is owned by Willie Nelson. It's on his property, and most of the set is in a state of disrepair. At least it was at the time that we were shooting there. The director secured permission to shoot there. The only building that is still sort of intact is the saloon, naturally, that also doubles as a recording studio. So if you went inside, which we didn't, there would be a recording studio in there. But the balcony was falling apart. In fact, at one point, we were working on a shot, shooting down the street, down Main Street. There's one street. So you have the saloon at one end, and you have the church at the other end, naturally. So we were going to shoot from the balcony of the saloon toward the church. But what happened was the building was in such a state of disrepair that it wasn't really safe to go up on the balcony steps, on the platform surrounding that was the balcony, I suppose, because so many boards had fallen out. They were rotting. They weren't maintained at all. You could even, in places, you could look down and see through to the ground level. So the decision was made for safety to only allow the cinematographer and myself, the first AC, to go up there to set up the camera, to rig the cable feed to Video Village, which would be downstairs. But what happened was, there's always this one guy, there's always one crew member that is sort of a jinx, or bad luck seems to follow him. And the trick is to not be that guy. So when you arrive on set, just don't be that guy. Don't be the bad luck or the jinx, or attract the bad luck. And if you do, you just have to grab a cannonball and step off the deck and disappear, like they did in what was that, Pirates of the Caribbean? No, it wasn't Pirates. It was Master and Commander. That's what that was. Like I said, nobody wants to be that guy, and so daily I would try not to be that guy and be conscientious that I wasn't going to be that guy. But that guy did manifest eventually, and his name was Ian. Ian kind of looked like a character out of the Daria cartoon, maybe the love interest guy. He's got the little bit of facial hair, maybe a goatee, mustache, curly hair, tall, tan, puka shell necklace, wife beater shirt, undershirt, unbuttoned overshirt, maybe a Hawaiian print, something colorful and festive, shorts, of course, sandals. And we just happened to have a boom operator who was about 5 feet tall, female, blonde, weighed about 80 pounds. I've never seen a crew quite so concerned about the comfort of the boom operator. Everybody just took their turns giving her shoulder rubs and massages to make sure that she wasn't too strained holding the boom pole. And of course, Ian, as soon as he arrived, gravitated towards her. They were talking downstairs at the base of the porch of the saloon, and there was a cable run going, like I said, from upstairs, from the camera rig. It was a Sony F900. Maybe it was probably a first gen at that time, because it was pre-2000. Cables run to Video Village, and Ian had to be very, very cool in all respects at all times. So he looks up. He wants to lean. He wants to do a casual lean, but it's not really convenient to do that here. The setting is kind of sparse. But he does see the cable run from the camera to Video Village. So I just see him. I catch a glimpse of him because I'm trying to watch the camera. I'm paying attention to Video Village and the camera. And I see Ian reach towards, like, as if he's going to grab like a subway hand strap to casually carry on his conversation with the boom operator. And that's when I leap into action. Everything moves in slow motion. I go, no, move his hand away, and I explain to him that there's a expensive camera package at the other end of that, and if he were to pull on it, he would basically end the show, besides giving one or both of us a concussion in the process. So that's one of my Heathens stories. The first feature film that I worked on, it was a high-def shoot, and the rental company, when we presented the show sort of off South by Southwest, introduced our production by saying that there were 2 films made that year with that camera package. One of them was our horrible show, and the other one was called The Phantom Menace. Thanks for watching. I'll tell you more about my illustrious career and as I go down my IMDb profile item by item. Thanks for watching.